I haven't really thought about this, frankly. It's like, but I think it. I'm making it up. I really learned how to be alone, and to be in the. I like to be in the woods by myself, and we used to go hiking and climb mountains. So there was always this love of nature. I don't know if it affected my work directly. I can't say. It affected my sense of being in or out of the community. And I think it made me an outsider a little bit. And I think as an artist, that's, I think many artists feel like, some artists feel. I think that when you're not in the middle of something and you're looking at it from the outside, you notice different things. And perhaps if you're inside something that you don't notice, for instance, when I go to other countries and I see things that are unfamiliar to me. There's this whole thing about making the familiar strange. It's one of the things that artists do. They take something that's everyday and do something with it.
I would say Jonas is a true original. I firmly believe that she is a genius. Curiosity about almost anything on this planet has driven her artistic practice throughout her career. When she was a young girl, she would stage theatricals with friends in the woods, in the New Hampshire woods. And that same kind of collaborative spirit emerged in work throughout her life. She emerged at a time when she, along with many other artists in New York City, were finding new artistic practices. They were pushing the box, they were moving beyond boundaries, and trying to move beyond static artwork, painting, sculpture, drawing. And she was trained in sculpture, first at the school at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, and then later even at Columbia. And she moved away from sculpture to explore art that existed in real time. But when art exists in real time, that's ephemeral. So she realized she wanted to start documenting these performances she would do with her various friends. And she would choreograph them to a way that they had a planned aspect, but there was also an improvisation embedded in it as well.
New York has changed a lot. When I was a child growing up, and even until, say, the 90s or 80s, New York was a different city than it is now. I think it's actually being ruined because it used to be more beautiful, and it's gotten just too full of big glass buildings. But there are many empty lots in New York, and that interests me about cities, when they have kind of like holes and places that you can enter and be inspired by a space. So I'm more inspired by that kind of space than by, say, a glass and steel space. I used to love the profile of Park Avenue before the Lieber building went up and ruined a particular profile. And Grand Central Station is one of my favorite spaces. It's too bad Penn Station was torn down. I remember that. It was beautiful also, the old Penn Station. Well, I began to be interested in film long before I thought that I would do a performance and work with video. Just because I love the movies, I love to go to see musicals. It's like a little bit the same, and films. And I became very interested in the form. And also I learned about other cultures and films. So I started looking at films long before the mid-60s. I love storytelling and spectacle, and film is a visual language. And so if I'm studying art history, I study film. And then I was interested in all these forms, and I thought, why not bring them all together? Why not? I wanted to invent something.
When Jonas was emerging in the late 1960s, early 1970s, New York scene, she became very interested in examining the roles women play, in exploring gender hierarchies, the power of the gaze. And she was then already exploring how the mirror plays as a metaphor and as a real object in reflecting women in everyday life, in society. And I believe, and she talked about how her work developed against the background of the emerging feminist movement and exploring how women position themselves. And I think still here in 2018, women are still called upon to question and interrogate and examine and put their best foot forward in how we still position ourselves today, whether in family, whether in work, whether in politics. It is still an existing reality that occurs for women in how we do and how we choose to position ourselves in society.
I'd been married and then I got divorced, and one way of transitioning into the next period is go back to school. So I went to Columbia Graduate School, and Columbia Graduate School at that time, in the mid-60s, didn't have much relation to the downtown art scene, which was on 57th Street and in the Lower East Side. I was friends with Henry Geltzoller and other people who went to Yale, friends of my ex-husband's, and Henry was the first contemporary curator of the Met. So he knew all these people downtown. He used to call us up and tell us what was going on. You know, there would be a happening. I never would have known otherwise. So I went to an Oldenburg performance, which was fantastic, and other happenings like that. So I was very lucky I saw those things. So the downtown art scene, I became slowly acquainted with it. And after Columbia, I got a job in different galleries. That's the other way. I think a lot of other artists have done this, worked in galleries. I really learned about contemporary art by working in galleries. They didn't teach these people at Columbia. You know, you didn't study these. I always relate to the present in my work, so that I'm aware of what's going on in the present, and I try to relate the work to the present in very subtle ways, not in a didactic way. So I'm working on this piece about the oceans. It started out being very much of a lecture and talking, but I worked with the projections that I was working with also. So I stepped in and out of the performance, like a talk and then perform. So that form interested me. I never did that before. But now I'm working further with this scientist, David Gruber, who's a marine biologist. And as I was saying last night, I don't know how that's going to, what will result. We don't have very much time. We have to put it together very quickly. But what his ideas interest me. He's dealing with the perception of how, the way fish perceive, how they see. And he's developed cameras that replicate their lenses. So they see things we can't see, bioluminescence. I'm not sure how to deal with that, but I know I'm going to deal with some of the things that he's studying. I'm turning the performance into an installation for this church in Venice that will be open in March and will be up for some months. And I hope it works. It's nice, I can let go of certain planet, like curating. So that's great that I can do that now, let go of that. Okay, thank you.